I'm Natalie Wolfenbarger. I'm a PhD candidate at the University of Texas at Austin Institute for Geophysics. My background is actually in aerospace engineering, but after my master's degree, I decided to pursue planetary science to kind of understand how we can actually use the data that we collect with spacecraft to understand natural systems like the Earth or other planets. So we're interested in finding life beyond Earth. And one of the things that's kind of a good ingredient that we understand life on Earth needs to survive is water. So when we look for places that might be able to support life, like the smallest microbes, we want to look for places where liquid water is stable. And so a lot of what we've looked at previously has been Mars, trying to figure out, is there water there? Was there water there? But with missions that we've sent to the outer solar system, so planets like Jupiter or Saturn, we've actually been able to find moons that we think have these vast oceans kind of hidden beneath these like icy crusts. I work on this ice penetrating radar instrument. And what it's basically designed to do is send energy into the ice shell to see if we can get reflections from things like water in the ice shell. And in order to understand kind of what there could be or what we might see, we need to build what's called forward models. And this is basically kind of representations of what the ice shell could look like based on our understanding of physics. And one of the places that we can actually look to understand what this shell might look like is actually ice shelves on Earth, because these are really thick layers of ice that are floating on an ocean. And that's where processes like freezing and melting are occurring. Is something called an ice pump. And so this is a really cool way of freezing, a little bit different than the ice you would think of finding in your freezer. What happens is below the ice shelf, where it's really thick, you get a little bit of melting, just because of the seawater coming in being a little bit warmer. And so where this melting happens, you get water that's less dense than the ocean water because it's less salty. It's basically melting just like pure ice. And as this meltwater, because it's less dense, it kind of floats along the interface to regions that are more shallow. And because it's going from a higher pressure to a lower pressure, it basically experiences something called supercooling, where it really wants to form ice, but it doesn't really have like the right conditions exactly to start crystallizing. When those conditions are met, you end up creating these little frazzle crystals, is what they're called, which are, again, less dense than ocean water. So they start floating upward and collecting at the base of the ice shelf, like an underwater snow. And so this was one of the mechanisms we proposed that could be operating beneath Europa's ice shell. Oh, wow, that's actually kind of a tough one. There are so many interesting bodies like within our solar system that would be interesting places to look for clues on, the origin of life. Titan is one of those bodies that's kind of an interesting one. It's one of Saturn's moons. It's one of the only moons in the solar system that has an atmosphere, which is pretty cool. But yeah, there's just so many. Enceladus is a great one that it's spewing geysers of subsurface water, we think, from the southern pole through these tiger stripes. If I could go to all of them, I would. My advice would be don't let anyone tell you what you can or can't do. If you're interested in something, pursue it, read about it, tell other people you're interested. And I think people will be supportive and kind of help you get to your goal. Don't be afraid to express your dreams and get support from other people to get there.